Good morning, everyone. We'll begin with the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings release from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action, and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and the results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs. So, we'll continue to follow Rev. Heng Sure and Marty on their pilgrimage. Today's entry is by Rev. Heng Sure, April 13th, 1978, titled, What's a Buddha Thought? Gold Wheel Dharma Lesson. Does anyone have a question? Asked the masters, turning to look directly at me. I think how he says is, 谁有什么问题吗? And Rev. Heng Sure says, Yes, Master, I do. The other day while bowing, I thought, when are you going to become a Buddha? I answered myself, when you only have Buddha thoughts in your head. As long as you have false thoughts of greed, anger, or stupidity, you can't become a Buddha. When your head only has Buddha thoughts, you are the Buddha. I thought this answer was eloquent and principled. Master Hua. Okay, Guozhen, what's a Buddha thought? Let's hear your answer. Well, stunned and blushing, it's only good thoughts? I ask you, what's a Buddha thought? Pinning me down. Well, I don't know. If I knew, I would be a Buddha. Because I don't have any only Buddha thoughts. I know what false thoughts are. It's because you have false thoughts that you don't know. What is inexpressible, what cannot be described, is the Buddha. Anything you can put into words is still superficial. As long as you still have thoughts, you have not realized Buddhahood. So no thoughts is Buddha thought? Wrong again. The sutra says, the ways of the thus come ones, great immortals, are subtle, wonderful, and hard to comprehend. No thought, they are apart from every thought. 10 grounds chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. When you have no thought, you would still go on to become free of all thoughts. If you know that you have no thoughts, this is still having thoughts, still attaching to marks. It said, the path of words and language is cut off. The place of the mind working is extinguished. Right in thoughts, one is apart from thoughts. One thinks, and yet has no thoughts. Don't miss it. From our first step to the present moment, our constant instruction has been, do no false thinking. Be a person of the way with no mind. When this work is done well, It's said that Buddhahood accomplishes itself. So Reverend Heng Sure's exchange with the master reminds me of a somewhat similar experience when I was in Taiwan with Reverend Heng Sure. Reverend Heng Sure asked me to share a few words after he gave a talk, as I spoke about bowing in the morning at CDTB when we have the universal bowing. And after I spoke, somebody had a question. And when this person, I think sat in the front row, raised his hand, and when he spoke, you could see he kind of puffed up a little bit. And his question was, why is universal bowing universal? 普佛为什么是普? Something like that. And I was like, whoa. Okay. First, the person asked the question, I could tell was, I'm not quite sure if he's really asking a question, but maybe making more of a statement or a challenge. And so I thought, okay, well, universal bowing's universal because, I'm not sure, but, in the Avatamsaka Sutra it says how we bow to limitless Buddhas, the 10 directions. Gave like this, maybe like 2 or 3 minute attempt at an answer, kind of blah, 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 blah. I could see this doesn't feel right, My answer doesn't seem to be quite skillful for the situation. I think finally Reverend Sure looks at me and sees I'm basically sinking. And he just says, okay. He looks at the guy and he says, why is it universal? Because there's no self. Because there's no self, you're everywhere. Okay, next question. I was like, oh, good answer. My attempt was very much caught in my mind, thinking, grasping at concepts, trying to come up with some answer. Reverend Heng Sure just went straight to the point. And not just straight to the point, straight to that person's affliction. Right? When he asked the question, there was a strong sense of self in it. I am here going to ask a question of the Dharma masters and maybe look smart or something. I don't know what he was thinking, but I could feel this kind of energy. And, I don't have the skill or wisdom to respond, and so I just try to trust my sixth consciousness mind. But I thought Reverend Heng Sure just went straight to the point. Similar to how Master Hua was teaching Reverend Heng Sure. Reverend Heng Sure has this moment where he asks his question, which is not really a question because he felt like he had a good answer. And a little bit, yep, look at me. And Master Hua just pins him down, just chick, chick. And there's a teaching there. The teaching, I think, at least for myself, is not believing this sixth conscious mind so much. We put so much investment in our intellect, in our thoughts, in trying to be smart, in trying to look good, especially around other people. I think one of the things that the Dharma teaches that's actually quite liberating is we're not our thoughts. We don't have to be smart. We don't have to show off. We don't even have to be liked and impress other people. Our liberation, our freedom comes from learning to actually let go. To let go of the need to constantly have the mind chewing, 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 churning, churning, churning. And I know for me it's not easy because I invested so much in my thinking, growing up, going to school, doing projects. And these thoughts somehow feel like they're me. This is all I have. I give up my thoughts. What would I be? I think the Dharma is putting out something, saying, okay, just let that go a little bit. Just let that go, let that go. And you'll find something deeper that's truly liberating. So maybe today we can maybe not trust our thoughts so much, not buy into the stories that it tells, into the worries that it creates, into the endless planning and projections that it does. Just use it when appropriate, but then give our mind a rest. Say, you know what, I'm going to take a vacation today from just my constant thinking mind. And maybe you can use your Dharma method, watching the breath, reciting Guanyin's name, reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, or for those who are bowing to 10,000 Buddhas, repentance, bowing to the Buddha. Maybe today we can just take a break. Okay, so let's do 3 steps, 1 bow. Also today is, tomorrow, I wanted to say, we're moving the Great Compassion Mantra, Dedication of Merit, up to 6 a.m. because we want to give people a chance to bow the 10,000 Buddhas, repentance, starting at 7. So 6 to 6:45. Okay, so let's do 3 steps, 1 bow. And we can bow away from the self. By bowing away from the self, we can make it